Okay, so how many of you know someone who has a hearing loss? Well, maybe some of these guys you will know. So Whoopi Goldberg, she's in a lot of movies. Famous musician Eric Clapton, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, whose wife ran for president last term, and you have Jane Lynch, who was on the show Glee. Well, hearing technologies and hearing loss, different types of hearing losses, are a big part of why and what we need to learn. And through this is how we can understand those people with hearing losses that you may not have come across before, like, don't understand. So you're like, maybe why is this relevant to her? Like, as from what we can see, I probably don't look like I have a hearing loss. Well, I do not have a hearing loss. But my major here at Fontbonne is deaf education, and I have also babysat a deaf girl who had a cochlear implant, so that was really cool. And then I also work at the Central Institute for the Deaf in the city, and so all those kids there have hearing losses, and so that's kind of cool to just interact with them and see their perspective on growing up with a hearing loss. So for the rest of this speech, I'm going to talk to you about the different types of hearing loss, the different assisted technologies there are for hearing losses, and 3 misconceptions that some people think are true, but are really not, that I kind of want to clear up. Because when we're doing the interviews, I kind of saw some of these misconceptions that I just want to clear out. So there are many different types of hearing losses. There is conductive, which stops sounds from the middle or outer ear. That's the least damaging, you could say. And then there's sensory neural, and that's a problem in the way the inner ear or hearing nerve works. So then that's your next step up. And then you have mixed hearing loss, which is a mix of conductive and sensory neural hearing loss. And then the losses can also range in severity, meaning there's mild to profound. So mild hearing loss is the very least. So they'll be able to hear some, but not some sounds, but it'll be harder to hear. And then you have profound, which is you cannot hear any speech, and it's just very loud noise. So then the next thing I want to talk about is how hearing loss can be quote unquote fixed. So it's obviously going to take time to fix your hearing, and a lot of times it does not go back the way it was. But to sort of make things easier, and if you are wanting to start speaking again and use oral communication rather than sign language, then you can either get hearing aids, which a lot of people have hearing aids. A lot of older people have hearing aids. It's very easy, just an ear mold, and you do not have to have any surgery, which is a lot of people not having to have surgery. So this is an easier fix for that. But also it'll help, it helps the low ranges and stuff. So if you're moderate hearing loss or mild, it'll help it rather than a cochlear implant. So that is what a hearing aid looks like. So now I'm going to talk to you about a cochlear implant. A cochlear implant is a surgical implantation of a magnetic type thing, sort of in the back of your head. And then this outside part, magnet clips on, kind of attracts to the magnetic part in your head, and then it wraps around your ear just like a hearing aid does on that part. So that you do need surgery. It's better to get those when you are younger and a baby, because the surgery is kind of expensive. But a lot of younger kids have those. With the kids that I work with, a lot of them either have one hearing aid and one cochlear implant, or 2 hearing aids or 2 cochlear implants. So that just the profound people who are more deaf will have the cochlear implant. And so there is an option to do no device, which people would like to use sign language and keep the deaf culture is what they say. And so then lastly, I want to talk to you about misconceptions. One misconception is that old people have hearing problems, and that's where it stays at. That is actually untrue. There are kids out there who are born deaf, and you can get hearing loss as a kid. Like I said, I work at Central Institute for the Deaf. All those kids are deaf, and it ranges from like 5 years old to like 13 years old. And then another misconception that there is that most people use sign language. So those kids at the Central Institute for the Deaf do not use sign language at all. Like none of them, as far as I know, maybe like one person knows sign language. And so in St. Louis is not a big sign language community anymore. So a lot of people are going to start using hearing aids and cochlear implants. And then the third misconception is that hearing aids fix hearing. Like I said earlier, they do not completely fix hearing. They help you hear better and be able to hear. Same with cochlear implants. They do not fix it completely. It's obviously going to take a lot of speech therapy and different other kinds of ways to get you to speak to like a better level. And then, so the 3 points I've talked to you today about is the different types of hearing loss, the different technologies that are used to help with hearing loss, and 3 misconceptions for those hearing losses. And so I would like to thank you guys for listening, and I would like you to use this information if you see someone who has a hearing loss, and to not judge them by it, and to go out and ask them about it and figure out like how they got it or why. And yeah, thank you.